The mining ship ECS Discovery floated silently among the asteroids. Commander Jack Phillips looked out the main window at the endless rocks spinning slowly in space. It was the year 2157, and humans had spread across the solar system, but had not yet met any aliens. "Commander, you should see this," called Dr. Lisa Murray, tapping rapidly on her screen. The sensors picked up something strange on asteroid BX-42. Jack walked over and looked at her screen. "What am I looking at, Doctor?" "Energy readings, not natural ones." Lisa pushed her glasses up. "Something is there that shouldn't be." Jack made his decision quickly. "Prepare a shuttle. You and I will check it out." An hour later, their small shuttle landed on the dark, rocky surface of the asteroid. Jack and Lisa walked carefully in their spacesuits, following the signal. Behind a tall ridge of rock, they found it. A smooth metal object about the size of a car, clearly not made by human hands. "An alien probe," Lisa whispered, her voice filled with wonder. The first proof we're not alone. Jack approached it slowly. "Can we communicate with it?" Lisa took out a small device and began sending basic mathematical signals, the universal language. At first, nothing happened. Then suddenly, the probe lit up with bright blue lights and sent a powerful beam straight up into space. "What did it do?" Jack asked, stepping back. Lisa checked her readings. It sent a signal, a very strong one. She looked up at the stars. "I think it just told someone we're here." 3 days later, alarms sounded throughout the solar system. A massive ship, 10 times larger than anything humans had built, appeared near Mars' orbit. On every screen across human space, a message played. "People of Earth, we are the Drachnid Collective. We have received your signal and come to meet you." The aliens called for a meeting. They were shocked when they learned humans came from Earth, a planet they knew as a Class 5 death world. Only 3 planets in the galaxy had this rating, and the Drachnids came from a Class 4. They had believed they were the toughest species in space until now. Ambassador Frank Weber led the human team to Luna Base for the first meeting. He was a calm man with gray hair and steady hands that never shook, even now. The Drachnids entered the meeting room, and humans saw aliens for the first time. They walked on 2 legs but had 4 arms. Their skin was thick and gray with patches of hard scales. Their faces had sharp teeth and yellow eyes with slits for pupils. The leader was bigger than the others, with scars across his face. "I am Warlord Krenfax," the alien said through a translation device. "We are surprised to find intelligent life from a Class 5 world. Most beings from such harsh planets never develop technology." Frank smiled politely. "We are equally surprised to meet you. Humans have wondered about alien life for centuries." The meeting continued with basic exchanges of information. The Drachnids seemed interested but careful. They asked many questions about Earth, its gravity, weather, animals, and diseases. In the corner of the room, military analyst Susan Green watched closely. She had studied body language for years, and even on an alien, she could see signs of trouble. "They're sizing us up," she whispered to Frank when the Drachnids stepped out for a break. "Not like potential friends. More like..." "Like what?" Frank asked. Susan's eyes narrowed. "Like hunters studying new prey, or warriors evaluating an enemy." Frank looked through the window at the Drachnids talking among themselves. Krenfax was pointing at human ships in orbit. The warlord's yellow eyes gleamed with something that looked very much like challenge. "For now, we continue with diplomacy," Frank said. "But alert Earth Defense Force. Tell them to be ready, just in case." Outside in the hallway, Krenfax turned to his advisors. "These humans are from the most deadly planet we've ever encountered. They don't look strong, but appearances can deceive. Watch them carefully. We need to learn everything about them before we decide what to do next." The first contact had been made. The 2 strongest species from the harshest worlds in the galaxy had finally met face to face. What would happen next would change the fate of both civilizations forever. 6 months after meeting the Drachnids, Ambassador Frank Weber stood on the deck of the human ship Star Voyager. Beside him, cultural specialist Amy Ortiz gasped as they got their first view of Nexus, home of the Galactic Concord. The space station was enormous, shaped like a wheel with spokes going to a center hub. Ships of all shapes and sizes moved around it. Some looked like crystals catching the light of nearby stars. Others resembled sea creatures, with flowing parts that moved like tentacles. 27 different alien civilizations, Amy said, checking her notes. And we're about to be the 28th. Frank nodded. And most of them evolved on much nicer planets than Earth. The Star Voyager docked at Nexus, and the human team walked through the airlock. They were greeted by a being that looked like a walking crystal. Its voice came through their translation devices. "Welcome, humans. I am Zor-Tel of the Vex. We are honored to welcome Earth to the Galactic Concord." The main hall of Nexus was filled with aliens of all kinds. Some floated in water tanks. Others hovered in the air. The humans tried not to stare, but it was hard. One species was made of what looked like blue smoke inside clear suits. Another had 6 legs and eyes on stalks. The Drachnids only joined the Concord 100 years ago. Zor-Tel explained as they walked. They are relatively new, like you. Dr. Paul Rivera, the team's scientist, found this interesting. So they're not one of the founding species. No, said Zor-Telephone. The founders were species from gentle worlds. The Melosians, for example, come from an ocean planet with no storms or predators. Paul spent the next few days studying the database of alien worlds. What he learned surprised him. Most species evolved on planets with stable conditions. Some had never experienced anything as simple as a thunderstorm. Their bodies were specialized for one environment. This explains so much, he told Frank one evening. Humans are unique because Earth is so varied and harsh. We evolved to handle everything. Deserts, Arctic cold, high mountains, deep seas. Our planet tried to kill us in 100 different ways, and we survived them all. Meanwhile, Captain William Dawson of Earth Defense Force was meeting with military representatives. The Tsith, insect-like aliens with 4 arms, showed him their weapon systems. "We noticed the Drachnids have been asking many questions about humans," the Tsith captain said, mandibles clicking. "More than normal curiosity." "What kind of questions?" William asked. "About your muscles, bones, reflexes, how you handle different gravities, your battle tactics." William frowned. "That sounds like they're studying us as opponents." The Tsith captain waved his antenna. "I mentioned this to the Security Council, but they dismissed it. They said it's natural for one Deathworld species to be curious about another." Later, at a welcome dinner, William noticed a group of Drachnids watching the humans from across the room. When a waiter accidentally dropped a tray with a loud crash, the humans barely reacted while several alien species jumped or cowered. The lead Drachnid narrowed his yellow eyes, making notes on a small device. In another part of Nexus, Amy was talking with a Melosian, a jellyfish-like creature floating in a water tank with mechanical arms. "We find humans fascinating." The Melosian burbled. "Most species that evolve on harsh worlds become specialized. The Drachnids became physically powerful, but humans became adaptable instead." "Is that unusual?" Amy asked. "Very. Most species choose one path. Become stronger or faster or develop natural weapons. Humans took a different approach. You became able to survive almost anything, anywhere." The Melosian's lights flickered in what might have been admiration. "The Drachnids may be stronger, but you humans, you endure." As the human delegation prepared for their formal introduction to the Concord Assembly, Frank received a message from Earth. It contained satellite images of Drachnid ships moving near the edges of the solar system, scanning Earth from a distance. Why would they need such detailed scans? He wondered aloud. Unless they're planning something we won't like. 1 year after joining the Galactic Concord, humans had built colonies on several moons and asteroids. The Europa mining base was their farthest outpost, built on Jupiter's icy moon. 20 people worked there, digging for rare metals. Base manager Alan Ross was checking equipment when alarms began to sound. He rushed to the control room, where his assistant pointed at the radar screen. 3 ships just appeared, she said. They're not human. Alan recognized the ships from their shape. Drachnids, what are they doing way out here? He sent a message to the ships. Drachnid vessels, this is Europa base. Can we help you? The largest ship responded. Europa base, we are conducting scientific surveys. No need for concern. But Lieutenant Kate Morris, who worked for Earth Intelligence, was suspicious. From her office on Earth, she monitored the Drachnid transmission and noticed a second, hidden signal beneath the main one. They're scanning our base, she told her boss as she decoded the signal. Mapping our defenses, power systems, life support. This isn't a scientific survey. When Earth officials questioned the Drachnids, their ambassador claimed they were just curious about human technology. No one believed them, but there was no proof of bad intentions. Tensions grew worse at the Galactic Trade Summit. Representatives from all 28 species met to discuss shipping routes and resource rights. Ambassador Frank Weber was explaining human mining operations when Thrakmor, a large drachnid with a scared face, interrupted him. Humans have claimed too much territory too quickly, Thrakmor said, standing up. His 4 arms were crossed across his chest. You've been in space for barely a century, yet you act like you own the solar system. Frank kept his voice calm. We are only developing our home system, as is our right. Thrakmor's yellow eyes narrowed. Perhaps species from Class 5 Deathworlds are too dangerous to allow unrestricted expansion. Perhaps they need supervision. The room grew quiet. Everyone understood the threat in his words. Meanwhile, on Nexus Station, Dr. Olivia Warren was working with Dr. Paul Rivera in the science labs. They had been studying drachnid biology for months. What they discovered was disturbing. Look at these DNA sequences, Olivia said, pointing to her screen. The drachnids have been changing themselves. Paul studied the data. Genetic engineering. Yes, and not just a little. They've been adding genes from other species to themselves for generations. The strength of one species, the reflexes of another. So their evolution isn't natural. They designed themselves to be powerful. Olivia nodded. While humans adapted naturally to Earth's challenges over millions of years, the drachnids took shortcuts. That same day, Captain William Dawson received an urgent message from Mars Defense Station. Unauthorized drachnid vessels have entered the system. 3 warships, heading toward Mars. William ordered Earth's defense fleet to intercept them. 6 human ships positioned themselves between Mars and the approaching drachnids. Drachnid vessels, you have entered human space without permission. William transmitted. Please explain your purpose. For 2 tense hours, the ships faced each other in space. The drachnids did not attack, but they did not leave either. They seemed to be testing human reactions, seeing how quickly the defense fleet responded. Finally, the drachnid ships turned around. But before they jumped away, they sent one last message to all human ships. Prepare yourselves, Earthers. The true strongest species will soon be determined. When Ambassador Frank heard about this, he called an emergency meeting with Earth's leaders. The drachnids are planning something. They see us as rivals, maybe even enemies. But why? Asked the Earth President. We've done nothing to threaten them. Dr. Rivera had a simple answer. Because we're from a harder world than theirs. Because they've spent generations making themselves the strongest, only to discover that nature made us stronger. They can't accept that. Kate Morris looked up from her datapad. Intelligence reports showed drachnid military exercises increasing by 300%. They're preparing for something big. Frank looked around the table at the worried faces. Then we need to be ready when it comes. 2 weeks after the space incident, a formal message arrived from the Drachnid Collective. The alien text appeared on screens across Earth and its colonies. Translators worked quickly to understand it. To the people of Earth, the message began. For too long, our species have wondered which is truly superior. We propose a series of challenges to settle this question peacefully. The strongest Deathworlders must finally face off. The message explained that instead of war, the Drachnids wanted a competition. It would test strength, endurance, adaptability, tactical thinking, and technology. The Galactic Concord would oversee everything to ensure fairness. Earth's united government called an emergency meeting. Leaders from all countries gathered to discuss the strange challenge. "This could be a trap," said General Ryan Patel, his face serious on the video screen. "The Drachnids might use this to learn our weaknesses. But refusing might make us look weak or afraid," countered a politician from Europe. "And if they're determined to prove themselves superior, better a competition than a war." Dr. Nancy Clark, a senior diplomat, raised her hands for quiet. "The Drachnids value strength above all. By their culture, they must know who is dominant. If we refuse, they might force the issue less peacefully." After 3 days of debate, Earth sent its answer. Yes, humans would accept the challenge, but only with neutral Concord observers present at all times. The next task was choosing who would represent humanity. This would not be like the old Olympics. These competitors needed to show the very best human abilities. Commander Sam Foster was selected to lead the team. At 40 years old, he had served in special forces and survived extreme conditions on 3 planets. His calm face showed little emotion as he accepted the role. "I know what's at stake," he told the selection committee. "The future of human-Drachnid relations depends on how we perform." 11 others joined his team. Linda Martinez, who had once survived 20 days alone in the Amazon jungle. Eric Daniels, martial arts champion and combat instructor. Dr. Olivia Warren, whose knowledge of alien biology would be crucial. Greg Wilson, an engineer who could build amazing things from almost nothing. Plus 8 other specialists with unique skills. The team trained for a month. They studied everything known about Drachnids. Their strength, 3 times human normal. Their reflexes, slightly slower than humans. Their thinking patterns, direct and aggressive. They expect to win the physical challenges easily, Sam told his team during a training session. "Let them. Our advantages are elsewhere, in endurance, adaptability, and creative thinking." Meanwhile, the Galactic Concord prepared the competition site. They chose Terminus, an uninhabited planet with harsh conditions, not as extreme as Earth, but still challenging. It had different environments for different tests: mountains, deserts, oceans, and jungles. News of the competition spread across the galaxy. Most alien species had never paid much attention to either humans or Drachnids before. Deathworld species were rare curiosities. Now everyone wanted to watch. "Betting pools are forming on Nexus," Kate Morris reported during a briefing. "Most aliens are putting their money on the Drachnids." "Why?" asked Linda Martinez. "They look more impressive," Kate said with a small smile. "Bigger, stronger, with natural armor. The galaxy doesn't know humans very well yet." The week before the competition, Sam's team boarded the starship Aurora for the journey to Terminus. Thousands of people came to see them off, waving flags and cheering. As Sam looked out at the crowd, a young reporter asked him, "Are you afraid of facing the Drachnids?" Sam thought for a moment before answering. "No. They've spent generations trying to make themselves the perfect warriors. But humans have spent our entire history overcoming challenges that should have killed us. Earth didn't make us to be perfect. It made us to survive anything." The Aurora lifted off, carrying 12 humans to represent their species in the greatest competition the galaxy had ever seen. Planet Terminus looked harsh even from orbit. Brown deserts, blue oceans, and rocky mountains covered its surface. The Aurora landed near the main competition camp where representatives from the Galactic Concord waited to greet them. "Welcome to Terminus," said Zortel, the crystal-like Vex who would serve as chief judge. "The Drachnids arrived yesterday. The trials begin tomorrow at dawn. Sam Foster led his team to their quarters. Across the camp, they saw the Drachnid team watching them. The alien warriors were impressive, tall with thick gray skin and powerful muscles moving under their scales. Their leader, Krengol, was the biggest of all, standing nearly 8 feet tall. They looked confident. Linda Martinez whispered, "So would I if I had 4 arms and natural armor," Eric Daniels replied with a small smile. That night, Zortel explained the rules to both teams. 5 trials over 7 days. Each trial tests different abilities. Points are awarded for performance. The species with the most points at the end will be declared the winner. The first trial began at sunrise. It was a simple test of physical strength. Competitors had to lift increasingly heavy objects until they could lift no more. As expected, the Drachnids dominated. Krengol lifted a weight 3 times heavier than what Sam managed. The aliens celebrated as they earned the first victory. "Don't worry," Sam told his disappointed team. "This is just the beginning." The second trial was held in Terminus's vast desert. Competitors had to cross 50 miles of sand and rock in extreme heat. They could carry only limited water and supplies. "This is a test of endurance, not speed," Sam reminded everyone before they started. The Drachnids began at a fast pace, using their strength to move quickly across the difficult terrain. By noon, they were far ahead of the humans. Alien observers watching through cameras nodded, expecting another Drachnid victory. But as the hot day continued, the Drachnids began to slow down. Their bodies, built for power rather than efficiency, burned energy too quickly. They needed more water than they had. The humans, meanwhile, maintained a steady pace. Their bodies, evolved on Earth with its varied climates, managed heat better and used energy more efficiently. As the sun began to set, Linda Martinez passed the first struggling Drachnid, then another. By the time darkness fell, Linda had finished the course, with Sam and 3 other humans close behind. The first Drachnid didn't finish until 2 hours later. "How?" demanded Krengol, his breath ragged. "How did you beat us?" "Humans evolved to run long distances in the heat," Dr. Warren explained to the watching aliens. "On early Earth, our ancestors would chase prey until it collapsed from exhaustion, even if it was faster or stronger." The third trial tested adaptability. Competitors were moved between chambers with rapidly changing conditions, from extreme heat to freezing cold, from high pressure to low oxygen, from bright light to total darkness. Again, the humans showed their advantage. While the Drachnids struggled with each change, humans adjusted quickly. Greg Wilson even seemed to enjoy the challenge, smiling as he moved between environments that would have killed most alien species. "Earth has every type of environment," he explained to a fascinated Vex observer. "Our planet's history includes ice ages and hot periods, times with more oxygen and times with less. Our bodies remember those changes in our genes." By the end of the third day, the competition was tied. The Drachnids had won the strength trial. Humans had won endurance and adaptability. That night, a group of aliens visited the human camp. They were reporters from various worlds, curious about these surprising competitors. "We expected the Drachnids to win easily," one admitted. "Most of the galaxy thought humans would be physically inferior." Sam smiled. "Strength isn't just about muscles. On Earth, the strongest creatures weren't always the ones that survived. Sometimes it was the most adaptable ones, the ones that could change when the world changed around them." As the humans prepared for the fourth trial, Krengol watched them from across the camp, his yellow eyes narrowed with concern. The competition was not going as the Drachnids had planned. The fourth day of competition began with tactical challenges. Each team had to solve complex problems and overcome obstacles using limited tools. This was where human creativity would shine. In the first exercise, competitors were placed in a maze-like forest and had to find their way out while avoiding traps. Eric Daniels surprised everyone by climbing a tall tree to get a better view, something the Drachnids with their heavier bodies couldn't do easily. From above, he mapped the maze and guided his teammates through. The humans aren't following the expected path, the Vex observer noted with interest. They're creating their own solutions. Next came tool-making challenges. Given only basic materials, competitors had to build devices to cross a wide river. The Drachnids constructed a simple raft, using their strength to push through the water. Greg Wilson, however, built a small wind-powered boat with a rudder. He finished far ahead of the others, drawing impressed clicks and whistles from the alien audience. They don't outmuscle problems, they outthink them, one observer commented. By the end of the fourth day, humans had taken the lead in points. The Drachnid team looked worried as they returned to their camp. That night, Warlord Krenfax arrived from the Drachnid homeworld. He summoned Krengol to a private meeting in their ship. "You are losing to weak humans," Krenfax growled. "This is unacceptable. The honor of our species is at stake." "They are more capable than we expected," Krengol admitted. "Their adaptability." "No excuses." Krenfax slammed his fist down. "The galaxy is watching. We cannot be seen as inferior to humans. Win by any means necessary." The next morning, the fifth challenge began: underwater survival. Competitors had to retrieve objects from the bottom of a deep lake while wearing special breathing equipment. As Linda Martinez dove deep into the dark water, her equipment suddenly failed. Her air supply cut off, and water began leaking into her mask. She struggled to reach the surface, lungs burning. Sam Foster saw her distress signal and dove in to help. He reached Linda just as she lost consciousness and pulled her to the shore where Dr. Warren revived her. "This was no accident," Sam said, examining the damaged equipment. "Someone tampered with her air valve." Sam demanded an investigation. The Concord officials checked the equipment but found no conclusive evidence of sabotage. The Drachnids denied any wrongdoing, but their eyes showed no sympathy. After the day's events, Kate Morris contacted Sam from Earth with disturbing news. "Our intelligence has uncovered something." Her voice came through the secure channel. "The Drachnids aren't just competing. They're gathering data on human capabilities, reaction times, and limits. This whole competition might be a cover to study us for military purposes." Sam shared this information with Ambassador Weber, who immediately called an emergency meeting with the Concord Security Council. "We have evidence the Drachnids are using this competition as intelligence gathering," Weber said, presenting Kate's findings. Some council members looked concerned, but others seemed dismissive. "You have no proof of harmful intent," the Malosian representative burbled. "Perhaps they are simply learning about their new galactic neighbors." While the politicians argued, the final phase of the competition began, a complex team challenge in the northern mountains of Terminus. Both teams would need to navigate treacherous terrain, solve puzzles, and overcome obstacles working together. As the human team climbed a narrow mountain path, Eric noticed something strange. "The Drachnid team should be visible in that valley," he said, pointing. "But I don't see them." Suddenly, energy weapons fired from hidden positions above them. The shots hit the rock near their feet. "Take cover," Sam shouted, pulling his team behind large boulders. More shots followed, and then they saw the Drachnid team emerging from hiding places, holding weapons that should not have been allowed in the competition. "This isn't a competition anymore," Sam told his team as they huddled behind rocks. "It's an ambush. They've decided if they can't win fairly, they'll eliminate us another way." The communication devices were jammed. There would be no help from the Concord observers. Cut off and under attack, the human team faced their greatest challenge yet. Dark clouds gathered over the mountains of Terminus. The human team was trapped, with Drachnid hunters closing in from all sides. Thunder rumbled in the distance. "We need a plan," Linda whispered. "They have weapons and the high ground." Sam looked at his team, then at the storm moving their way. "The storm is our advantage. They expect us to hide or run. We won't do either." The team split into pairs and moved through the rocks as the first lightning flashed across the sky. Rain began to fall, making the rocky ground slippery and dangerous. Dr. Warren studied the lightning pattern. The strikes are hitting the tallest points in a regular sequence, she told Greg Wilson. I think the mountain has a high metal content that's attracting the lightning. Greg's eyes lit up with an idea. If we could channel that power. Using metal tools from their survival kits, Greg quickly built small lightning rods. The team placed them near spots where the drachnids were hiding. When the next lightning bolt struck, it followed the metal and sent a powerful surge through the area. The nearest drachnid's weapon exploded in his hands, leaving him stunned. It worked. Linda shouted over the thunder. The storm grew stronger. Rain fell in sheets, making it hard to see. This would have crippled most species, but humans had evolved to function in all weather conditions. The team moved through the storm with confidence, disabling more drachnid weapons with Greg's lightning rods. The drachnids, confused by the humans' ability to use the storm against them, began to retreat toward a cave. Sam led his team in pursuit. At the cave entrance, Sam came face to face with Warlord Krenfax. The drachnid leader was massive, his armor glistening with rain. You were supposed to lose, Krenfax growled. How can creatures so soft be so hard to defeat? We're not soft, Sam replied. We're adaptable. There's a difference. Krenfax roared and charged at Sam. The human was much smaller but quicker. He dodged the first attack and rolled away from the second. The storm raged around them as they fought at the edge of a cliff. The warlord was incredibly strong, but Sam noticed something important. He was tiring quickly. Drachnids had powerful muscles but poor endurance. Sam kept moving, making the warlord use his energy. Lightning struck nearby, temporarily blinding both fighters. When they could see again, Krenfax was off balance near the cliff edge. Sam could have pushed him off, ending the fight permanently. Instead, he reached out and grabbed the warlord's arm, pulling him back to safety. Krenfax stared at Sam in confusion. Why save me? I tried to kill you. Because that's what humans do, Sam said. We compete, we fight when necessary, but we don't destroy without reason. At that moment, ships appeared in the sky. The Galactic Concord's peacekeeping force. They had detected the weapons fire and come to investigate. When they landed, they found the human team treating injured drachnids, using their medical supplies to help the very aliens who had tried to kill them minutes before. The Concord officials were shocked. The drachnids broke every rule. Zortel said. They committed crimes that could get them expelled from the Concord. Why are you helping them? Dr. Warren looked up from bandaging the drachnid's wound. Because true strength isn't just about surviving. It's about helping others survive too. News of what happened spread quickly across the galaxy. The drachnids had tried to cheat and still lost. Humans had shown not only physical and mental abilities, but also moral strength that many species found surprising. In the aftermath, the Drachnid Collective faced serious sanctions. Krenfax was removed from power, replaced by a more moderate leader who had been impressed by human actions. 1 month later, Ambassador Weber addressed the Concord Assembly. What makes Earth a true death world isn't just its harshness, he said. It's that it taught us both how to survive and how to live together. The strongest species isn't the one that can destroy others. It's the one that can help others thrive. As the human team returned to Earth as heroes, alien ships from across the galaxy arrived with ambassadors seeking friendship and alliance with these strange, adaptable creatures who had proven themselves to be the strongest Deathworlders in the most unexpected way.